Just yesterday on September 9th, 2024, James Earl Jones, the iconic voice of Darth Vader, sadly passed away at age 93. He was an amazing actor who had achieved many accolades, and to give tribute to his life and career, I'll be doing an overview of many of the highlights of his acting career, including his role as Darth Vader in this video. James Earl Jones was born on January 17th, 1931 in Arcaboutla, Mississippi, before moving to be raised by his grandparents in Dublin, Michigan, aged 5. The move from Mississippi proved to be traumatic for him, resulting in him not talking and developing serious stuttering problems up into his high school years. Instead of talking, he would write. Once in high school, an English teacher of his named Donald Crouch helped him with his talking and stuttering problem. James Earl Jones in an interview said, "He tricked me into talking. I credit him with being the father of my voice." He graduated from high school in 1949 and then attended the University of Michigan, where he then graduated in 1955 with a Bachelor of Arts majoring in drama. His acting career began in 1953 as a stage carpenter and then actor and stage manager by around 1955 to 1957. In the early to mid-1960s, he acted in many Shakespearean plays in roles such as Othello, Oberon, and Claudius. He then made his film debut in the Stanley Kubrick movie Dr. Strangelove as Lieutenant Lothar Zog. He would continue working in many plays throughout the 60s, including playing boxer Jack Jefferson in 1967's The Great White Hope, for which he won a Tony Award. For the film of the same name in 1970, he also received an Academy Award nomination. Something else interesting in 1969 was he appeared in 2 Sesame Street shorts. Later in his career, he would also appear in 2 Sesame Street episodes. Getting back on track though, around this time, he also narrated documentaries on Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, and starred in the 1972 film The Man as Douglas Dillman, a senator who became the first black president of the United States. Throughout the early 70s, he continued acting in plays such as King Lear and also The Iceman Cometh. 1976 saw him star in several movies before we then get to 1977, which contains some of his most well-known works. In 1977, he played Malcolm X in the biographical sports film The Greatest about the life of Muhammad Ali. He also appeared in the television miniseries Roots as Alex Haley and Jesus of Nazareth as Balthazar. This leads us into the role he is likely most well known for as the iconic Darth Vader from Star Wars. The story of how he got the role is that the physical actor for Darth Vader, David Prowse, did not have a voice fit for the role, so James Earl Jones was given the voice while Prowse would do the physical portrayal. He recorded his lines for A New Hope, then just called Star Wars within a few hours and was paid just a few $1,000s, which in retrospect seems extremely low for what is now one of the most iconic characters ever created in fiction. He declined to receive a credit for this though, saying that his contribution wasn't significant enough to amount to a credit, which he continued to do until he was credited in Return of the Jedi. In 1978, he appeared on Sesame Street. He then starred as Alex Haley in the critically acclaimed 1979 series Roots: The Next Generations, a sequel to Roots from a few years ago. He returned to voice Darth Vader in what is in my opinion the best Star Wars movie, The Empire Strikes Back, which is now considered one of the best, if not the best, sequel ever made. Darth Vader is a great character, but the baritone voice of James Earl Jones makes the character who he is, and without him, Darth Vader would have only had 1,000th or a percentile of the presence he ended up having. His big roles didn't end there though, as in 1982 he starred in The Flight of Dragons, Conan the Barbarian, and Blood Tide, as Omadon, Thulsa Doom, and Fry respectively, before then returning as Darth Vader in 1983's Return of the Jedi. He had many more great but lesser known roles in the mid-80s before we then get to the widely known movie Coming to America, where he starred as King Jaffe Joffer alongside Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall. The next few years saw him appear in movies such as The Three Fugitives, The Hunt for Red October, Scorches, Patriot Games, The Sandlot, Excessive Force, and The Meteor Man, before we then get to quite possibly his second most well-known role in 1994 as Mufasa in The Lion King. This is one of Disney's most well-known and acclaimed movies, which James Earl Jones played a huge part of as the voice of Mufasa, who played an integral role as Simba's wise father. He would also appear in the direct-to-video sequel in 1998 and a TV series follow-up in 2015. He reprised his role as Darth Vader in 2005's Revenge of the Sith. Around this time, he also appeared in movies such as Sandlot 2, The Benchwarmers, and Scary Movie 4. In 2007, he then again reprised his role as Darth Vader in LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, which was amazing to see in an already amazing video game. Not many big movie actors will voice video game versions of their characters, so this was awesome to see. From 2014 until 2016, he voiced Darth Vader in Star Wars Rebels for 5 episodes. Also in 2016, he made his last major appearance as Darth Vader in the movie Rogue One, where he had some great lines. In 2019, he had a couple lines as Vader in The Rise of Skywalker and reprised his role as Mufasa in the live-action remake of The Lion King. Although the movie may have had some polarizing reception, James Earl Jones' voice here was just as hard-hitting and was one of the best parts of the movie. He's also the only actor from the original version to reprise his role, which is an interesting fact. His final film role before retiring was in 2021 in the sequel to Coming to America, Coming to America. This was a great way to cap off a historic career career with a sequel to one of the most well-known movies he was involved in. The sources for this video came from several interviews that James Earl Jones did, which I'll link in the video description below. I'm not particularly good at saying anything profound, but I hope you enjoyed this recap of some of the highlights of the career of James Earl Jones and that this video did his life and legacy justice.